I, 28F, discovered that my husband Mark, 30M, has been cheating on me with my best friend Sarah, 29F, for the past year. Mark and I have been married for 5 years and have a 2-year-old daughter, Emily. We met in college and had what I thought was a strong relationship built on trust and communication. Mark and I both come from small towns in the Midwest. We bonded over our shared experiences of growing up in tight-knit communities and our dreams of building a life in the city. After graduation, we moved to Chicago together, excited to start our careers and our life as a couple. I landed a job at a marketing firm, while Mark started working for a tech startup. We were both ambitious and focused on our careers, but we always made time for each other. We had a weekly date night, even if it was just cooking dinner together at home. We talked about everything, our hopes, our fears, our plans for the future. 3 years into our marriage, we decided to start a family. We were overjoyed when I got pregnant with Emily. The pregnancy was tough. I had severe morning sickness and had to be hospitalized twice. But Mark was there for me every step of the way. He came to every doctor's appointment, rubbed my feet when they were swollen, and even painted the nursery himself. When Emily was born, we were ecstatic. Mark took 2 weeks off work to help with the baby. He was an amazing father from the start, changing diapers, doing midnight feeds, singing lullabies. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have such a wonderful partner and father for my child. Sarah has been my best friend since high school. We lost touch for a while when we went to different colleges, but we reconnected when I moved to Chicago. She was already living here, working as a teacher. She was single and loved being the fun aunt to Emily. She would babysit for us, bring over homemade meals when we were too tired to cook, and was always there to lend an ear when I needed to talk. The first sign that something was off came about 3 months ago. Mark started working late more often, saying his startup was in a critical phase. I believed him because he had always been honest with me before. He also began spending more time on his phone, often smiling at text messages. When I asked who he was texting, he'd say it was just work stuff or his buddies planning a game night. I started to feel a bit neglected. Between his long hours at work and my full-time job plus taking care of Emily, we weren't spending as much time together. I tried to talk to him about it, but he assured me it was just temporary and things would calm down soon. Last week, I borrowed Mark's laptop to check my email because mine wasn't working. When I opened the browser, I saw his email was still logged in. I know I shouldn't have, but I clicked on his sent folder. That's when I saw dozens of emails between him and Sarah. The emails went back almost a year. They started innocently enough, friendly chats about work and life. But over time, they became more intimate. They talked about their feelings for each other, planned secret meetings, and even discussed a future together. There were even a few intimate photos exchanged. I felt like my whole world was falling apart. I couldn't believe that the two people I trusted most could betray me like this. I read through all the emails, feeling more devastated with each one. They had been meeting at hotels, having lunch dates while I was at work, even sneaking moments together when Sarah was supposedly babysitting Emily. I confronted Mark as soon as he got home from work. At first, he tried to deny it, saying I was misunderstanding things. But when I showed him the emails, he broke down and admitted everything. He said it started as just friendship. Sarah had been there for him when he was stressed about work and feeling overwhelmed with being a new parent. He said he never meant for it to develop into an affair, but one thing led to another. Mark begged me for forgiveness. He said he would end things with Sarah immediately and that he still loved me. He suggested couples therapy, saying he wanted to make our marriage work. But I was too hurt and angry to even consider it. I told him to get out of the house and stay with his parents until I figured out what I wanted to do. The next day, I called Sarah. She answered cheerfully, not knowing that I had discovered her betrayal. When I confronted her, she started crying and apologizing. She said she felt terrible about what they had done and that she would do anything to make it right. I told her that our friendship was over and that I never wanted to see or hear from her again. Now, I'm staying with my sister, unable to face going back to the house I shared with Mark. Emily is confused and keeps asking for her daddy. It breaks my heart to see her like this, knowing that her world has been turned upside down because of her parents' actions. I'm not sure what to do next. Part of me wants to try and work things out with Mark for the sake of our daughter. We built a life together, and the thought of throwing it all away is terrifying. But another part of me knows that I can never trust him again. Every time I close my eyes, I see the emails, the plans they made behind my back. My family and other friends have been supportive, telling me to take my time and not make any rushed decisions. But I feel like I'm in limbo, unable to move forward or go back to the way things were. I keep replaying memories in my head, wondering if there were signs I missed. Were they laughing at me behind my back this whole time? I've been thinking about filing for divorce, but I'm scared of being a single mom. I have a good job, but I'm not sure if I can manage everything on my own. Plus, I'm worried about how a divorce would affect Emily. She's so young, will she even remember a time when her parents were together? Mark has been calling and texting nonstop, begging for another chance. He says he'll do anything to make it right, including going to couples therapy and changing jobs so he'll never have to see Sarah again. But I'm not sure if I even want to try. The betrayal feels too deep, too personal. Sarah has also been trying to reach out, sending long emails explaining herself and asking for forgiveness. She says she values our friendship more than anything and that she'll never forgive herself for hurting me. I haven't responded to any of her messages. I can't even bear to look at them. I feel like I'm stuck in a nightmare that I can't wake up from. Every morning, I wake up hoping it was all a bad dream, only to remember that it's my new reality. I've lost my husband, my best friend, and the future I thought we were building together. I'm trying to stay strong for Emily, but when she's asleep, I break down. I cry until I have no tears left, feeling utterly lost and alone. I never thought I'd be in this situation, and I'm struggling to find a way forward. I keep thinking about our wedding day, how happy and in love we were. We wrote our own vows, promising to always be honest and faithful to each other. Mark's words echo in my head now, a cruel reminder of how easily promises can be broken. I'm angry, hurt, and confused. I'm angry at Mark for throwing away our marriage, at Sarah for betraying our friendship, and at myself for not seeing what was happening right under my nose. I'm hurt that they could do this to me, to our family. And I'm confused about what to do next, how to move forward from here. Right now, I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to focus on Emily and my job. But the pain and betrayal are always there, lurking just beneath the surface. I'm trying to eat and sleep, but it's hard. I've lost weight, and I have dark circles under my eyes from sleepless nights. I'm not sure what I'm looking for by posting this. Maybe just some advice or words of encouragement. Has anyone been through something similar? How did you get through it? Is there any hope for salvaging my marriage, or should I just cut my losses and move on? Any advice or support would be greatly appreciated. I feel so alone and lost right now. Update 1. Thank you all for your supportive comments on my last post. I really appreciate the kindness of strangers during this difficult time. A lot has happened in the past 3 weeks, and I wanted to give you all an update. After my initial post, I decided to file for divorce. It wasn't an easy decision, but after a lot of soul-searching and conversations with my family and close friends, I realized that I could never trust Mark again. Staying in the marriage would only lead to more pain and resentment, not just for me but for Emily too. I hired a lawyer and started the process. It's been overwhelming dealing with all the paperwork and legal jargon, but my lawyer has been patient and helpful, explaining everything step by step. We're working on the division of assets and figuring out a custody arrangement for Emily. Mark didn't take the news well. He showed up at my sister's house late one night, clearly drunk. He was crying and begging me to reconsider, saying he'd do anything to save our marriage. He tried to force his way into the house, which scared Emily. I had to call the police to remove him from the property. It was a messy and emotional scene that left me feeling even more certain about my decision to end our marriage. The real shock came a few days later when I received a call from Sarah's husband, Tom, 31M. It turned out that Sarah had confessed everything to him after I confronted her. Tom was devastated and angry, much like I was. We met up for coffee to talk about what had happened. During our conversation, Tom revealed something that turned my world upside down once again. Apparently, this wasn't the first time Sarah had cheated on him. She had a history of affairs, including one with her boss a few years ago. Tom had forgiven her then, thinking it was a one-time mistake. He showed me text messages and emails he had found, proving Sarah's pattern of infidelity. But here's where it gets even more complicated. Tom told me that Sarah is pregnant, and she's not sure if the baby is his or Mark's. The timing lines up with both her relationship with Tom and her affair with Mark. I felt like I had been punched in the gut all over again. The thought of my soon-to-be ex-husband potentially having a child with my ex-best friend was almost too much to bear. I immediately called Mark and confronted him about the pregnancy. He broke down and admitted that he knew about it but was too afraid to tell me. He said he wasn't sure what he was going to do if the baby turned out to be his. He apologized again, saying he never meant for things to get this complicated. This new information has made the divorce proceedings even more complex. My lawyer is now pushing for a paternity test to be included in the divorce agreement. If the child is Mark's, it will affect child support and custody arrangements for Emily. We're also discussing the possibility of a morality clause in the custody agreement, which would prevent Mark from having Sarah around Emily during his parenting time. Speaking of Emily, she's been struggling with all the changes. She doesn't understand why Daddy isn't living with us anymore or why she can't see her Aunt Sarah. She's been having nightmares and acting out at daycare. It breaks my heart to see her so confused and upset. I've been trying to explain things in a way she can understand, but it's hard to know how much she really comprehends. I've been seeing a therapist to help me cope with everything. It's been helpful to have someone to talk to who isn't involved in the situation. She's been helping me work through my anger and betrayal, and focus on healing and moving forward. We've been discussing strategies for co-parenting with Mark and how to help Emily adjust to our new family dynamic. Mark has been trying to make amends. He's been consistently showing up for Emily, taking her on weekends and being present for her in a way he wasn't before. Part of me is glad that he's stepping up as a father, but another part of me is angry that it took this disaster for him to do so. He's also been sending me long emails, explaining his actions and apologizing. I've been reading them but not responding. I'm not ready to engage with him beyond what's necessary for Emily and the divorce proceedings. Sarah, on the other hand, has become somewhat of a pariah in our social circle. Most of our mutual friends have chosen to support me, cutting ties with her. I heard that she's lost her job at the school where she taught, as news of her affair with the students' parents spread. She's thinking of moving away to start fresh somewhere else. Tom and I have been leaning on each other for support. We understand each other's pain in a way that others can't. We've been meeting up regularly for coffee, sharing updates on our respective divorce proceedings and just talking. There's no romantic interest there, just a shared experience of betrayal and heartbreak. As for me, I'm taking it one day at a time. Some days are better than others. I've thrown myself into my work, taking on extra projects to keep my mind occupied. I'm also focusing on being the best mom I can be for Emily. We've been spending a lot of quality time together, going to the park, baking cookies, and reading stories. I'm trying to create a stable, loving environment for her amidst all the chaos. I'm slowly starting to imagine a future without Mark. It's scary, but it's also somewhat liberating. I'm rediscovering parts of myself that I had neglected during my marriage. I've started running again, something I used to love but gave up when Emily was born. I'm also thinking about taking some classes to advance my career. Financially, it's been a challenge. I'm looking at having to sell our house and find a smaller place for Emily and me. The lawyer fees are adding up, and the prospect of being a single-income household is daunting. But I'm determined to make it work. I'm still angry and hurt, but I'm also starting to feel stronger. I know I'll get through this, even if the path forward isn't always clear. I'm learning to trust myself again and to believe that I deserve better than what Mark and Sarah did to me. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you know. I'll keep you updated as things progress. Update 2. Hello everyone. It's been a while since my last update, and a lot has happened. I appreciate all the support and advice I've received from this community. Your words have been a source of strength during this difficult time. The biggest news is that the paternity test results came back. The baby is Mark's. This confirmation hit me harder than I expected. Even though I had prepared myself for this possibility, actually knowing made it real in a way it wasn't before. It's strange to think that Emily will have a half-sibling, born from such painful circumstances. Mark seems torn about the situation. On one hand, he's excited about having another child. He's been talking about setting up a nursery at his new apartment and has even started buying baby clothes. On the other hand, he's realizing the full impact of his actions. He's going to be a father again, but at the cost of his marriage and the stable family unit we had for Emily. The divorce proceedings have become more complicated with this news. We're now negotiating child support for both Emily and the new baby, as well as a visitation schedule that will work for both children. It's been challenging to say the least. There have been heated arguments and tense meetings with our lawyers. Sarah has decided to keep the baby. She and Tom are getting a divorce as well. Tom couldn't get past the betrayal, especially now that the child isn't his. I can't blame him. He's moved out of their shared apartment and is staying with a friend. Sarah reached out to me, asking if we could talk. After much hesitation, I agreed, more out of curiosity than any desire to reconcile. We met at a neutral location, a quiet cafe in a part of town neither of us frequents. Our meeting was tense and emotional. Sarah looked different, tired and drawn, her pregnancy now visible. She apologized again, crying as she explained how she never meant for any of this to happen. She said she's always struggled with self-esteem issues and that the affairs were her way of feeling valued and desired. She talked about her difficult childhood, growing up with an alcoholic father and a mother who was never there emotionally. I listened, but I couldn't find it in me to forgive her. Her explanation, while sad, didn't excuse her actions. I told her that while I don't wish her ill, especially now that she's carrying my daughter's sibling, I can't have her in my life anymore. The trust is too broken, the hurt too deep. We discussed practical matters, how we would handle situations where we might run into each other, like at Emily's future school events. We agreed to be civil for the sake of the children, but nothing more. It was a sad end to a friendship that had spanned over a decade, but it felt necessary for my healing. The divorce proceedings are moving forward. We're working out the details of custody and child support. It's been a challenge, especially now with the new baby on the way. My lawyer has been invaluable in navigating these complex waters. We're pushing for primary custody of Emily, with Mark having visitation rights. We're also discussing how to handle holidays and special occasions. One unexpected development is that I've become closer to Tom. We've been supporting each other through our respective divorces. We meet up regularly for coffee, sharing updates and offering each other emotional support. Last week, he asked me out on a date. I was surprised and unsure at first, but I decided to give it a chance. We went out for dinner, and it was nice to feel a connection with someone again. We're taking things very slowly, both aware of the complicated history we share. I'm not sure if it will develop into anything serious, but it's nice to have someone who understands what I'm going through. My daughter is slowly adjusting to the new normal. She still has moments where she asks why we can't all be together, but she's starting to understand that mommy and daddy live in different houses now. We've started her in play therapy to help her process everything. Her therapist says she's doing well, all things considered, but that it will take time for her to fully adjust. As for me, I'm doing better. The anger is still there, but it's not as all-consuming as it was before. I'm focusing on rebuilding my life and creating a new future for myself and Emily. I've started taking an art class in the evenings as a way to express myself and meet new people. It's been therapeutic to channel my emotions into painting. Work has been a saving grace. I threw myself into a big project, and it's been paying off. I recently got a promotion, which has been a much-needed boost to my confidence and financial security. The extra income will help as I navigate life as a single mom. I've also been reconnecting with old friends who I had lost touch with during my marriage. It's been nice to rebuild these relationships and remember who I was before I became Mark's wife or Emily's mom. I'm rediscovering parts of myself that I had forgotten. I know the road ahead won't be easy. Co-parenting with Mark will be a challenge, especially once the new baby arrives. But I'm committed to making it work for the sake of our children. We're trying to establish clear boundaries and open communication, though it's not always easy. Thank you all again for your support. It's been a long, difficult journey, but I'm starting to see glimmers of hope for the future. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been 6 months since my original post, and I wanted to give you all a final update on my situation. The divorce is now final. It was a long and sometimes contentious process, but it's done. Mark and I have a co-parenting agreement in place for Emily, and we've both committed to making it work for her sake. We have joint custody, with Emily living primarily with me and spending every other weekend and one evening a week with Mark. Sarah gave birth to her and Mark's baby boy last month. They named him Nathan. It was a difficult moment for me, knowing that my ex-husband had a child with my ex-best friend. But I'm working on accepting it as part of our new reality. Emily is excited about being a big sister, even if the circumstances are complicated. She's met Nathan a couple of times during her visits with Mark, and she seems to like him. Co-parenting with Mark has its challenges, but we're managing. We communicate mainly through a co-parenting app, which helps keep things civil and focused on Emily. He's been consistent with his visitation and child support, which I appreciate. We've had a few disagreements about parenting decisions, but we're learning to compromise and put Emily's needs first. Sarah and I have no contact beyond what's absolutely necessary regarding the children. It's better this way. She's struggling as a single mom, from what I hear. She moved to a smaller apartment and had to take a lower-paying job at a different school district. But that's not my concern anymore. I've learned to set boundaries and focus on my own healing. As for Tom and me, we've decided to just be friends. We went on a few dates, but we realized that while we have a strong connection due to our shared experiences, we're both still healing and not ready for a serious relationship. We still meet up occasionally for coffee and to check in on each other, but that's it. I'm grateful for his friendship and support throughout this ordeal. I've been focusing on myself and Emily. I've continued with my art classes and even had a small exhibition of my work at a local cafe. It's been therapeutic and has helped me process a lot of my emotions. I'm considering turning this hobby into a side business, selling my paintings online. Emily is doing much better now. The play therapy has been incredibly helpful, and she's adjusting well to our new family structure. She still has moments where she wishes we were all together, but those are becoming less frequent. She's doing well in school and has made new friends in our neighborhood. Work continues to be a positive aspect of my life. I've taken on more responsibilities with my promotion and am finding a lot of satisfaction in my career. I've also started mentoring younger employees, which has been rewarding. I've also started dating again, casually. Nothing serious yet, but it's nice to feel attractive and desired again after everything that happened. I'm taking it slow and being cautious, but I'm open to the possibility of finding love again someday. For now, though, my priority is Emily and my own personal growth. Financially, things have stabilized. The sale of our marital home, combined with my promotion, has allowed me to buy a small house in a good school district for Emily and me. It's our fresh start, a place without painful memories. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your kind words and advice have meant more than you know. While this chapter of my life is closing, I'm looking forward to writing the next one on my own terms. I'm excited about the future, for both Emily and me, and I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next.